Hey, I'm Kristin.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is Locked in a Closet.
Join us as we tell each other stories of true crime, the paranormal, urban legends, and all things spooky. All right, welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
I don't know what episode we're on, what number, but
I think we're on 12.
Oh, that's exciting.
Maybe? I don't know.
I
We're in
feel
real
like-
double digits.
Honestly, it feels like more.
I know.
Sometimes.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. How exciting.
We're getting there. And what, we're on Apple now? We're on iTunes?
Yes, we are. Yeah, that's very true. We're like
Exciting.
a real life podcast.
Yeah.
We're on Apple.
I'm
We've
a
had
real
technical
boy.
difficulties today. All we need is a HelloFresh sponsorship and then we'll be good to go.
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, this is our second time recording this episode. So
Yep.
we apologize if we sound insane because we're probably
just like over it.
Yeah. Did I say that already? Who knows?
Who knows?
If a joke is a good joke, I'll say it twice.
There we
I have
go.
no
Okay.
shame.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So how are you? How are you doing in this winter wonderland we suddenly have?
Okay, I'm all right. I'm not leaving my house unless I absolutely have to, which I was doing.
We're not
anyway,
allowed.
But
Yeah.
yeah, very true. We had a video call with my mom and one of my brothers and his little
nice.
baby, like the tiny baby Asher. So it was nice to see him in like real time rather than just a Snapchat video. But
Right.
yeah, it's tough. I miss
So-
them.
It's a weird world. And like these new rules, if you live in Ontario, you know what we're talking about. Doug Ford doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, stay at home except for groceries. And we're not going to close non-essential businesses, but you're not allowed to go there.
But also, if you're a small business, you can't be open. It's only
Yeah.
like Walmart that can be
Yeah,
open.
Home Depot closed. Canadian Tire closed. Walmart, fuck it. Have 500 of your closest friends over.
Yeah, it's so weird. Did you see from I don't know which press conference it was, but people are making it into a TikTok. It's Doug Ford.
Is it when he says French?
Yeah. Restez à la
Maison.
It's
I
so
don't speak
funny.
French and I speak better French than the
I
fucking
know, it's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah, that one made me laugh. Yeah, I don't know. And apparently it's extended again as of yesterday morning.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I think
Honestly,
we're on
like-
February 19th is end of lockdown as of right
Yeah.
now. So
I'm fine with lockdown. I just wish it made sense.
yeah.
And I wish
I
it
wish that it was
worked.
Yeah, I think that lockdown would work if they were
Mhm.
more strict.
Yeah.
Like we need 2 weeks of nothing. And
Yeah,
then maybe we'll
just-
try to like reset a little bit, but
Yeah.
they're not actually enforcing things enough unless it's like small
No.
businesses that are getting fined, which is just sad. And
Yeah,
like,
it's so
nothing's gonna
sad. And
change.
and basically to like, not to get political, but like they're talking about how the police can enforce these rules on their own whim, basically. Like and then also too, the thing that I don't understand is like you stay at home orders, but you're allowed to have up to 5 people gathering outside. I thought I wasn't allowed to go outside.
yeah, I don't know. They're very confusing rules.
They're- yeah.
I don't even know.
So.
I'll just stay home and
I'm just thankful for our Zoom podcast calls.
I know. It's weird. Like once this is over, if we're going to record in person, I'm going to be like, what do we do?
Yeah.
We've never recorded in person.
Yeah. I've seen you more digitally than in person, which is wild.
I know. It's crazier.
Yeah. We're going to
guess
like
that's-
meet in person again and be like, it's going to be like all
who?
fresh and new. Yeah.
We'll have to bring our computers and just have a Zoom call.
Like a coffee shop,
yeah.
different sides of the room. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, what a weird world we're living in.
It's so weird. I feel bad for kids. Like,
I know.
There goes my dog. Like, I saw this TikTok the other day of this little girl, and she was like going up to various things that were like kind of stuck to side of buildings and like putting her hand under, waiting for her hand sanitizer.
Oh,
And then she'd like rub her hand. It was like cute, but I'm like, oh, that's also so heartbreaking.
yeah. It's just so weird.
Yeah.
Because like, think of when we were kids. Like, I don't even know what hand sanitizer was. Like,
Don't
obviously,
know.
soap.
Yeah. Yeah. I did wash
But-
my hands. But
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
So
It's
so
also
weird.
not related to COVID or anything, but like, have you seen now, like if you were to ask a kid to hold up a fake phone, did you tell me this? Where they hold up their
no,
hand?
I saw it on
flat?
TikTok. Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of like the like pinky and thumb thing that everybody would normally do, they hold up.
Because like Yeah,
The
though.
prom. Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's so weird.
It makes me wonder what else is going to change, or like if kids even know what like the save button is.
Yeah,
Like, if
that's
they know what a
true.
floppy disk is. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they don't know what a floppy disk is.
I mean, that was just barely our generation.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's so weird.
Yeah. All right. I guess we should talk about ghosts now.
I guess. Yeah.
I guess.
I'm just getting sad about the world that we're living in.
Let's talk about dead things.
So since this is kind of like your neck of the woods, do you want to go ahead and do the intro for it?
For sure.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, today is all about ghosts, y'all. Specifically Vancouver Island ghosts. I got to choose the location this time for ghosts. I think we kind of enjoy going back and forth and like picking somewhere in Canada and just both focusing on the ghost stories that are in that location.
It's good too, because like a lot of the stuff, like we have very different backgrounds. So like I'm sure I know a lot of places that you don't know, and you know a ton of places that I don't know. So it's good. Like we get to learn stuff about different places that we never normally would.
And maybe we'll expand into like other countries and stuff. But right now I'm just like, I'm loving it being Canadian and just being kind of local to each other.
Yeah, it's cute.
I mean, I'm not from Vancouver Island, but I've spent a lot of time there because my husband's from there. So I love it. It's probably the most magical, beautiful place in all of Canada. You can quote me on that. I would love to move there. One day, I think we'll move there. I hope. So this is more specifically, I guess all these stories are based in Victoria because I mean, there is other parts of Vancouver Island, but Victoria is like the main hub because it's the capital of BC. Perfect. Which everyone thinks it's Vancouver, but
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So it's not nearly as old as Ottawa or like other eastern parts of Canada, but it's like a pretty old capital, and it's really rich with history and obviously ghosts. And honestly, you'd be hard pressed to find a place in Victoria or like the surrounding areas that doesn't claim to be haunted. Like, I mean, the article I sent you for the inspiration of this was like 31 haunted places. Yeah,
it was a lot.
And like some of the ones that I was looking at were literally like it would be like right next door. It'd be like this pub connected to this place, connected to that.
There was one that I was gonna do, and it was the main part, and then also another article was like the alley leading to this place.
That's the one I'm doing. That's
is it that one? Yeah. I was like, that's kind of funny.
It's like all the same. Yeah, it took me a while to like, because it makes, when I tell the story, it'll make sense, because it was like one big place at one point, and now there's just a bunch of buildings on it.
Right.
And I read this spooky thing, or maybe it was a TikTok. I don't know. Things blur together when you're home 24/7 and consuming media 24/7. But it was, someone had said ghosts don't haunt buildings. They haunt, like, especially like houses. Like a ghost doesn't haunt one house. It'll haunt like a whole neighborhood. But it might like focus its energy in one spot specifically, but it's not necessarily like tied to that one house. I mean, maybe sometimes. Which I was like, oh, that's not cool. Because like, if you lived near a place that was knowingly haunted, like you're still at risk.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I never thought about that.
Right? Because I guess like, I know, because in most stories, like think of the first season of American Horror Story. Have you seen that? Where the ghosts are tied to that like one property specifically. Apparently, it's not always like that. Oh. Guess I better do some more research about the lands around.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Beacon Hill Park in just outside of downtown Victoria. I chose this one because this is where I got my engagement photos taken.
So cute.
Right? And I didn't even know it was haunted, which probably for the best, because I probably just would have been like, let's go look at the place.
You should definitely go back and look at your pictures, see if there's any orbs or...
I bet you should probably edit out anything though.
Probably. She's like, no, this will just freak him out.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny that I must have forgot, because when I did the research, I actually watched the Creepy Canada episode, because it's in a Creepy Canada episode. And I remember now when I was watching, I was like, I remember watching this like probably when I was 10. And I was like, oh, I had no idea that was the same park. Sorry, my dog just came up behind me. That was the same park that I saw in Creepy Canada. And it's a really beautiful park. It's like right by the ocean, which, you know, as they say, water is like a conduit of spiritual energy. And it's like got like a big forest, like grassy meadows, like a petting zoo, a little lake. Like it's adorable. Cute. Yeah. Anyways, we'll move on to the spooky story. So the famous story from Beacon Hill was from the late 1970s. A long blonde-haired woman with a dark complexion was seen standing on top of a rocky bluff near one of the corners of the park. She was standing with her mouth wide open, her head kind of tilted back, and her hands above her head. She stood there unmoving morning after morning for several months. So people would just like see her on their like morning walks or runs or whatever. And she'd just be standing in that same position for hours. And like if people tried to talk to her or whatever, like there was nothing. I wrote spooky or just fucking yoga.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely a yoga pose. Everything except for the mouth wide open. I was like,
right,
yeah, it's yoga.
I mean, maybe it's like that. You got to do that breathing. I remember doing that, like breathing in yoga. But yeah, I couldn't help but laugh because I was like, what if she was just? It was like the 1970s, so yoga's not very popular, like globally. Mm-hmm. So what if people were just like, what the fuck is this crazy woman doing? And then yeah, on the episode of Creepy Canada, people that they interviewed were like, they described it as like they thought she was doing like yoga or like a spiritual exercise. But I guess it would be weird if you went and saw it every day and she was doing the same pose every day.
Yeah.
But there is more to the story that makes it spooky and not just like a woman doing yoga.
I would hope so. That'd be a little disappointing. Right?
The end. Story. All right. So years later, because it said the late 1970s, not exactly specific, but it says years later in 1983, a woman with fair skin and long dark hair was seen on top of that same rock. So like literally the inverse of the previous woman. Okay. And apparently some people said her clothes too were like the inverse. So like if she was wearing a black shirt and white pants, it was now black pants and a white shirt. So
okay.
Kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And she was doing the exact same thing, like this arms up, her head back, her mouth open. And, but this time people described seeing her described her as being not human, like ghostly, like it was described literally as vaporous and misty. Ooh. And then like sometimes they'd be looking at her and she would just like straight up disappear. So
weird.
Yeah. So a few months later on November 15th, in 1983, the same year, a body was found in a shallow grave under some bushes near the rock that both the women had been seen on. The body was identified as a local woman named Donna Mitchell, who had gone missing June 2nd, 1983, so just a few months earlier. She was apparently, I think, strangled to death, and then she was buried basically the same day that she was murdered and went missing. And reports say that she was last seen at the Empress Hotel.
Ooh, foreshadowing. I'm doing foreshadowing.
Yeah. So much mystery around that place. So Donna Mitchell's murder case is like officially unsolved, but the investigators, they're pretty sure they like identified the murderer. The suspect who they had lived in Vancouver. So they went to Vancouver and they went to his home and they found him hanging dead. So they never got to wrap up that murder, unfortunately. So could be why she's still seen to this day. Mm-hmm. So many people have continued seeing this ghostly woman standing there with her mouth open, and a lot of people describe it as a silent scream, which is super eerie. Mm-hmm. Like rather than it just looking like her mouth is open, it looks like she's screaming and you can't hear it. Ooh. Yeah,
I now hate it. Like, I was okay with it before, but now I hate it.
Right? Like, what's with the arms up? Like, that's creepy.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there's this doppelganger theory out there, which is basically people are just saying like this is what explains this. And basically the folklore around the doppelgangers goes that if you see yours or if someone close to you sees yours, it's like a harbinger. Is it harbinger or harbinger? Harbinger. Anyways, it's a omen of death, we'll say.
There we go. Omen works.
Yeah. It was an omen of death and it's considered very ominous. Ooh. And apparently there's been like many famous people like Abraham Lincoln and Queen Elizabeth I who claimed that they've seen their own doppelganger shortly before their own death. So that's spooky.
That's weird because I apparently have a lot of doppelgangers and they all live in Ottawa. So that's great. Yeah. My mom swears I look just like somebody that went to my high school. She was like 2 years older than me. I don't think I look anything like her, but she would see her leaving the school. She thought it was me. And then there was somebody that worked at like the local grocery store that my mom said looked just like me, and I also don't see it. And then there was when I used to work in retail, which don't even want to get into, we had a Canpar delivery guy And one day he came in and he was like, were you shoveling snow in Bridlewood, which is like a suburb in Canada?
Yeah, not too
like,
far.
No, I don't live in Bridlewood. He's like, oh, like I swear I saw you. I was like, no, it wasn't me. So there's 3. Live super
Sounds
close
like your
to
mom just wants you to
my mom just wants me to.
No, but like that used to happen to my mom and I, because me and my mom look identical. And growing up, people would always approach my mom and be like, oh, are you so and so, or do you have a sister, or like all this stuff. And now I get that all the time. Actually, just the other day, well, actually it was probably pre-COVID, I was at the grocery store and someone was like, oh, Miss, and I couldn't remember, they called me like a teacher's name, and I was like, excuse me, like no. And they're like, aren't you my son's teacher? And I'm like, no. I was like, thank you, I guess, I don't know. I was like, do I look like a teacher? Is that bad? I don't know. Nice? Yeah. It was weird because I hadn't got that in Ottawa yet. So I was like, oh, still got that generic white girl face. But yeah, so like I've experienced like you have, like a lot of people have said like, oh, you look just like this person, or I swear I just saw you.
That's so strange to me. People have like the same face.
Yeah. So it's said that doppelgangers will actually often, not always, but often appear as like the photo negative, which would explain why the 1970s version of the woman was like dark-skinned, blonde hair, and then the real victim was pale-skinned and brunette, which is kind of creepy. And then the clothes thing. Yeah. So
that's kind of creepy. I don't like that one.
the doppelganger of Beacon Hill Park. I thought that was interesting because it's like kind of more than a ghost story in a way, if you believe in doppelgangers.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. And like the fact that she was seen there like years before this body was found, like it wasn't like the body was there the whole time. It's so creepy. It's like
really weird,
foreshadowing where she'll die, or at least where she'll be buried.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah,
not into that.
No, but I don't know, I wasn't near that area when I was at that park because it's a big park. But now I want to go back and just go like walk around those rock bluffs and see.
Yeah, see anything.
Yeah, or just do it and freak people out.
Can you imagine?
Right? Like, oh god, she's back. It always makes me wonder though if it was just a big coincidence, like maybe it was someone just doing yoga in the 1970s and then
they like started it.
Yeah. Anyways, super weird. That was Beacon Hill Park in Victoria.
That's crazy. I love it. I mean, I hate it, but it's also really cool.
Right?
So I'm gonna do McPherson Playhouse. I couldn't find a ton of information about the actual playhouse. It
was kind of hard. It's like they keep these stories so secretive because, you know, like all these places always have to
just like charge you to
learn.
Yeah.
And while I would love to, I don't live there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if they do like virtual stuff during. It wouldn't be the same though.
No, it wouldn't.
Because you want to be there and be creeped out.
You want to be there and want to maybe experience something.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so the McPherson Playhouse is located in downtown Victoria, along with everything. And it opened in 1914. Ooh. There's like 2 main stories that I found for them. One that I only found on one website, and I really couldn't find anything else about it. So who knows if that's actually true.
You just take it as gospel because you're just like, well, you're my only source.
Yeah. And then there was like just like some general stuff that's happened. So the main one is the Gray Lady. So she is said to be hanging around for decades in the playhouse. She's always sporting a long gray coat. And the most significant story happened in the late 90s during a dress rehearsal for a play called A Woman in Black, which is kind of funny because she's a woman in gray.
Okay, but like, why is every ghost always like the white lady or the gray lady? Know. Like, was it because the world didn't have color until 1940? Oh whatever. My God.
My mom, one time when my brothers were little, she was telling them a story about when she went to the Santa Claus parade. And my one brother looked at her and goes, was it in black and white? Like, no. Oh my God. You little shit. Okay, so during this dress rehearsal, the staff was like super sure that everything was locked up and there was nobody there, nobody in the audience. And then the one balcony that the specific story happened on, it was like locked and empty. During the second half of the rehearsal, the 2 lead actors were complaining about a mysterious woman who was running around the balcony as they were performing. Ooh. Which obviously is going to be annoying because it's going to be really distracting and
like running around,
creepy if nobody was there. Yeah. And then more recently, I mean, that's kind of the end of that story. It was
all of these are really like
nobody was actually there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kept seeing this woman running back and forth. And then more recently, The theater has struggled to keep an overnight janitor staffed because every single one of them that they've hired has felt super uneasy, and they've quit like really early on into their shifts.
I couldn't be overnight anything.
Oh my God, no. I don't even like being like downstairs in my house at night.
Oh my God.
Like in my room.
Yeah. No.
Not into it.
Everything's just creepier at the dead of night. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's just like quiet and I don't know.
Yeah.
Dark. Okay, so after people had started hearing about stories, a bunch of people from the public kept asking about tours of the theater. So they started doing them, and then they kind of started like a challenge for people who were attending the tours, where they would leave somebody alone in the theater for like 30 minutes and be like, okay, if you could do it, great. And
That's
nobody's ever stayed longer than 5 minutes. They run out of the theater. So like, what is happening?
Do that. Yeah.
I would not be able to. That's terrifying.
The thing is, it's like when you go into something with that, with the expectation, it's like, I feel like you psych yourself out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you're obviously there because you believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
So why would you sit there just asking for it, basically?
Yeah. But like part of me is like, let's do it.
Yeah. So the other main one for McPherson Playhouse is called The Frenchman. Ooh. So apparently at 9 a.m. in October, it didn't say a specific date. I don't know if it's every day, 9 a.m., whatever. You can see the apparition on the street corner. So like right in front of the theater of a man just like standing there. Oh, that's so crazy. I guess he's said to have been involved in a gambling game, and he was shot and his body was dumped there. Oh, so he's still hanging out in October.
Just October. That's funny.
Just October. I mean, yeah. Not funny, but like
no. But like, why so specific?
Yeah, I don't know. That one was kind of strange to me. And then one website that I was on was talking about the man in gray, who was believed to be the previous manager. Yeah, exactly. More gray, who had taken his own life. But I couldn't find any other information other than that. So I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know about that one.
Fake or something.
And then there's just been like general like poltergeist activity and some unexplainable noises that have been heard.
And that's crazy. Could you imagine being part of a play and just knowing like the place that you're practicing and doing your shows is because you're there like, you know, I was in play at high school. It's not quite the same, but you're there late sometimes doing lines and shit and like just practicing like
yeah. No, I don't know.
I bet you they never do Macbeth.
Oh my God, yeah.
Or Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. I would say not.
Yeah. I don't think I've been to that playhouse, but I haven't been everywhere in Victoria.
Well, how rude of you.
I know. I try. Okay, so my second one is the one you kind of mentioned where it's Bastion Square and then that alley, which I forget the name of, but I have it written somewhere. I probably should know how to say this. Like, I don't know.
Who knows? We'll go with Helmkin.
Anyways, it's got an alley. All right, so Bastion Square is in downtown Victoria, obviously. It's now a beautiful courtyard of like restaurants, patios, souvenir shops, like boutiques, street performers, local market vendors. Like it's such a cute place. I've been there so many times without realizing its history. But it actually was the site of something a little more sinister. Ooh. Yeah. It was the site of the city's public hangings.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So like, I'm pretty sure I've bought like a necklace from there and someone died there once.
That's crazy.
So the most haunted building in the square is currently home to the Maritime Museum, which I haven't been to because I'm like, I don't really care to learn about the maritime stuff. I mean, it is by the ocean. I should probably care, but I haven't been there. And now I kind of want to go because it's like super haunted. So this museum was actually like the original site of the old Supreme Court building, which was then built over top of the original old jail, which the old jail was demolished in 1885. And then originally old Fort Victoria stood there. Okay. So many different like and old like so Fort Victoria was constructed in 1843 and then demolished in 1864. So like this specific site in the city has like so much history of like being a gathering place of people or like being a jail or a courthouse of like just evil negative things. And then one of the sources, so this is just from one source, stated, and who knows how true this is, Even before the Europeans arrived, the natives believed the spot had strong magical powers. So the spot in the city's got bad juju, bad vibes. But yeah, I've been there. It's cute as hell. So it's kind of weird to think that like people lost their lives there.
I wonder what it would be like for people that work there. Like, I wonder how many stories they have.
Oh, yeah. So one of the videos I watched talked about how so many, like they would be in their shops and they'd see so many people running and screaming from that specific alley. And they just started to realize it was happening a lot. So they would like try and talk to those people and get their stories. And they actually collected.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, all of the stories, and all of them were so similar that it was hard for them to like discount it being hauntings. Yeah, so all the people that own stores and stuff there, like they're very aware of it or have experienced it. Or
that's so cool.
I would highly suggest visiting Victoria. It's got like an old city charm. Kind of reminds me, like I said, of Ottawa in a way, and it's just like it's got a different vibe than like newer cities like Toronto or Vancouver or anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so during the operation of the gallows in the jailhouse that was there at one point, many people were put to death and then left out for 24 hours to be like claimed by friends and family.
Oh,
I guess like I'm assuming they were probably just left hanging, and then if someone was like, oh, that's old Joe, they'd cut him down and bury him. And then
imagine if stuff was still like that.
Oh my God. States doesn't seem far off at this point.
That's true.
And like one of the articles I read was basically like kind of imagine it like a saloon town almost, and there were like rooftop, I don't want to say like rooftop bars because that sounds so current, but like there were like people would be like fighting for spots at the top of the rooftop so they could get like better views of these executions, which is so fucked up. But
I'm so happy we have TikTok now.
Right, Netflix. Oh geez. So yeah, if they weren't claimed, they just buried the bodies right there in that little area. So
oh God,
it's like some of these bodies obviously were not exhumed during all the many times that this place was built up and built down. So there's actually still an unknown number of lost graves that are beneath the square.
Oh my people
walk like, and I've walked on there so many times, and I'm like, there's bodies beneath my feet.
That's insane.
And like, I don't think they would even attempt to do it now. It's just,
I feel like it would just mess everything up.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So like, obviously there's reasons why this area is like haunted.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the most common experiences people say they have is tied to that alley. So this alley was used to transport prisoners from the old jailhouse to the gallows. So it was basically like this creepy alley walk of death for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was said that prison guards often beat these men either to the brink of death or to death in these alleys, because it was kind of like a covered alley, I guess. And it was rumored that at least 2 of the men who were hanged were allegedly innocent of their crimes. So just a lot of bad stuff there. So
sure.
People describe hearing chains either like rattling or dragging on the ground, heavy footsteps without like obviously a source, and like muffled, unintelligible conversations. People have also claimed to see apparitions of men dressed in all canvas outfits, which I guess were like the old jailhouse uniforms, with men like with chains hanging down from them or like on their hands and feet. And oftentimes these ghost prisoners would charge at whoever notices them, causing them to run from the alley.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Like pretty much all of these stories, either like it'll be like someone will be like, I heard, chains kind of rattling or footsteps. And then the people that are like, oh, I saw something and it fucking ran at me. Like, so like these people that had these boutiques and stores near the alley would literally see people running out of the alley screaming because something was chasing them.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? You like hear something turn around and then this thing is chasing you. Oh my God.
Even if it didn't look like a ghost, like anyone charging at you, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So the former courthouse / current Maritime Museum of BC also has like, it's claimed to be like the most haunted building in Victoria. But like I read that for every one that I read that this is the most haunted building.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so people who walk by one of the original courthouse rooms, like on the 3rd floor, I think it said, often hear like the slamming of hands, which was kind of like what this one specific judge did instead of like a gavel, like at the end of his, he would slam his hands down really mad. So they would still hear that periodically. And so like same thing, like janitors and stuff would just be too scared to go by that room, or like just know that they're going to hear hands slamming on a table. And it's speculated that it's Sir Matthew Bigby, Sir Matthew Bailey Bigby, I think. And so he was nicknamed the Hanging Judge. And he was like the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And the reason he was nicknamed the Hanging Judge was because of his role of hanging 6 chiefs during the Chilcotin War. So not a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's often seen roaming the building in his like black robes, and he'll like be seen like gliding down the stairs, like, and
like Harry Potter.
Yeah, right. Or they'll smell like, I guess he was really famous for smoking a tobacco pipe, so people would smell that pipe tobacco in like the various rooms and stuff, and yeah, basically just like the other cliche stuff, like people will feel uneasy or like feel like they're being choked or hear footsteps and all those other sort of poltergeist activity.
Love yogurt.
They just love yogurt.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Bastion Square and the alley. Kind of wild. I mean, I wish there was more stories, but apparently they're all fairly the same, like of just this alley, like scaring people. I don't know if I've ever been in the alley. I've been to the square.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's crazy. Great job.
I know, right? Like, oh, like you don't hear many ghost stories of like ghosts charging people.
No.
Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
No. It's one thing to see them. I don't want it knowing I'm there too.
Yeah, 100%. It's like they're just messing with you.
Yeah. It's like, scary. Do they know they're dead? Or are they like,
oh, yeah, I don't,
right? Like, who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, so my last one is the Empress Hotel, which we already touched on a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the most famous place in Victoria.
Oh my god, it's also beautiful.
I know.
Like all the videos and pictures and stuff. I actually ended up watching like a 40-minute like tour of the whole place. Somebody filmed it. Oh my god, it's gorgeous.
I regret not staying there when I lived near there. Like I've stayed in other hotels. I mean, it's also kind of expensive.
Yeah, obviously.
I bet. But it's like this castle with like vines growing on the side. Like it doesn't even look like it belongs in BC.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe one day when COVID's over.
Right?
Travel again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Empress Hotel is considered one of the most haunted hotels in the world. It was built between... I wrote 1904 and 1908. Wow. Yeah, a long time ago.
Before it was even settled.
Yeah. It opened January 20th, which is 3 days from when we're recording this.
Oh, that's spooky.
Yeah, 1908. So quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And then additional wings were built in 1909 and then again in 1928. Since it opened, it has hosted royalty, like kings, queens, all that stuff, movie stars, and just a bunch of famous people.
I'm pretty sure the current queen stayed there when she went.
Stayed there.
Yeah, it's like the hotel.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I get it. It's so nice. If I were a queen,
right? I think I had the opportunity to stay there, and I chickened out because I'm like, it's haunted.
Oh, really?
Just fucking did it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so there's quite a few ghosts, I guess, that haunt the hotel. The most famous one is a thin mustached man who's walking the halls with a cane. So that is said to be Francis Rattenbury, who is the architect who designed the hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
He also did the legislative building that's in Victoria. So
I love that he stayed around. He's like, I'm proud of this.
Well, I mean, yes and no. He didn't seem like a very nice human.
Oh.
So okay, so he cheated on his wife with Alma Pakenham, who was a younger woman. She was in her early 20s and he was in his mid 50s.
Ew.
Yeah.
I mean, no shame, I guess, but
that's a lot. That's
a
big age difference.
Yeah.
So she worked as the piano player at the Empress Hotel. And obviously he like stayed there a lot because he was rich and super proud of himself for designing
He probably had his own suite or something.
Probably, yeah.
He designed it or whatever.
Yeah. So Alma and Rattenbury ended up moving to Bournemouth. I don't know. It's in England in 1929. Okay.
I thought it would be somewhere in BC. I was like,
yeah, I thought so too. And then I was like, yeah, no, definitely not. So he began to drink quite a bit. Alma was not happy with it. So she ended up striking up a romance with their chauffeur, who was 19-year-old George Stoner. Rattenbury had a drinking problem, and one night George hit him over the head with a croquet. Some places say it was English. A carpenter mallet. Some places say it was a croquet mallet. So I don't know which one was correct. I'd like to think it was a croquet mallet.
Me too.
That's funny. So when he was asleep in his chair, unconscious, obviously, because he was blackout drunk, he was left unconscious and then ended up dying in the hospital.
This is just like a scandal. It sounds like a scandal. Like, yeah, they're always cheating on each other.
Was big time because like, I guess he was well known in Victoria at the time, and he had like a wife and child before he started cheating on her and left her for, and like his wife didn't actually want the marriage to end, so he kind of like forced it to end by getting Alma to like move into their house with them. It was
so weird.
It's completely messed up. So Rattenbury died in 1935 in England. And then Alma was acquitted of murder after she confessed to it, because it was like her doing pretty much. And then she ended up committing suicide by stabbing herself 6 times with a pair of scissors. And then she fell into a river and drowned.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then Stoner was sentenced to be hung. So there's that.
Wow, there so much just happened.
I know. I know. It went fast.
Wow.
Okay, so the ghost of Rattenbury has been seen walking the halls of the Empress with his cane, near where his portrait hangs. So I'm not sure where in the hotel that is, but I mean, it kind of makes sense if he like designed it that he would have a portrait there, even though he was a shitty human.
I find it interesting that he was killed in England and that his ghost is all the way. Yeah. How does work? I mean, obviously this shit's magic. So, but I'm like, how does it work?
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting though. I mean, I guess he probably had a lot of like happy memories there and he was probably really proud of it. It kind of sounds like once they moved, it was kind of a shit life because he was just drinking all the time and then his wife cheated on him. So,
but like, could you imagine like, say you died, even if it wasn't like a traumatic death and you still felt like attached to a certain location and that's where you went, like it'd be like my childhood home and like I don't know the fucking people that live there now. Yeah. You're just forced to like cohabit with these people.
Yeah.
If that's how ghosts work, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah. He's also been seen in the basement near where the men's room is, which is,
could you imagine how creepy that basement would be?
Yeah, no thank you. Not into that.
No.
Okay, so another one that I read about was a maid on the 6th floor who's still seen cleaning.
That's the one I know about.
So her name was Lizzie McGrath, and she was a chambermaid in 1909. So I guess she also lived at the hotel, which was common then, I guess. And she used to go out and say her rosary on the fire escape outside of her room every evening. So she'd crawl out her window and then say her rosary out there. And then one night she went out to do it and she either forgot or wasn't told that there was construction going on and the fire escape wasn't there. So she ended up falling to her death.
Wouldn't she look before she crawled?
I mean, if you do something like automatically every night, then
if she went like feet first, maybe. Oh my god, if she went feet first.
Maybe, yeah. So anyway, she plunged to her death. And is still cleaning, which I mean, yeah, it's kind of shitty.
Like the worst job to clean too.
Yeah. So that one's really sad. Poor thing.
Jeez.
Another one is an old lady in pajamas.
I love that.
I guess at one point the hotel was used for like long-term housing and a lot of the people that lived there were elderly people.
Okay.
And this lady, I guess, had just died of natural causes sometime after World War II. I don't know exactly when it was or who she is. Like nobody knows who she actually is.
Yeah, I always find it pretty interesting when they're able to be like, and this was the ghost. I'm like, but how do you know?
Yeah.
I guess if it looks like the portrait or whatever.
Yeah. Or like something like with Lizzie, like that one's kind of, you can put 2 and 2 together for that one. So yeah, this lady, she passed away of natural causes in the hotel. And then after she passed away, they were still renting out the room that she was staying in. And people were kind of reporting like weird stuff was happening in it. So they ended up not renting it out anymore. And then the time came for them to do renos and they had to put a new elevator in. So they chose to put it where her room was because they weren't renting it out or anything anymore.
I remember the story too. Yeah.
Yeah. So ever since the elevator was put in, guests have reported having a knock on their door This is creepy.
Oh, no.
They get a knock on their door, and it's an old lady in pajamas.
Oh my
and
God.
She's like really confused, and she's like, can you just help me find my room? Like, I don't know where my room is.
She can't find her room.
Yeah. So then they like go and they try to help her, and she leads them to where this new elevator is, and then she just disappears.
That's so heartbreaking.
I know,
they disrupted her
sad.
peace.
This poor little lady.
But also that would be terrifying.
Yeah, like you're trying to help this old lady and then she's just gone. Yeah. Not good.
And she's like, this is my room. And you're like, ma'am, that's an elevator. Like you're just like not sure what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. So that's
I think I was gonna say, I feel like there's like a story about a phantom room.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the stories from this place.
I know, they're super cool. So there's two other ones that there's not a lot of information on, but just that I found online. So there's apparently a little girl that haunts one of the rooms. I don't know what room it is or any information about that. And then the last one is in the 60s. A construction worker saw the shadow of something swinging from like the ceiling where they were working. And he found out that another construction worker had hung himself there a year previous. So that's really sad.
That's sad. And like creepy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Empress Hotel.
I'd love to stay there.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I would. It'd be super cool.
Oh yeah. So gorgeous. But and then also it's like maybe a ghost experience.
Yeah, for sure. I will just go over my sources really quick.
For the
Empress Hotel, there was an article on victoriabuzz.com, westcoastlivingcanada.com, superstitioutimes.com, and then there was a YouTube video on a channel called Pages and Polish. And then for the McPherson Playhouse, I used Vancouver Island.ctvnews.ca, Van Isle Supernatural.ca, livinglibraryblog.com, and then just Wikipedia just to figure out when it opened.
Yeah, Wikipedia should just be a given. Yeah, for me, for the Beacon Hill one, I have Doppelganger Beacon Hill Park, the story behind the haunting, which is an article by Suzanne71 on Hub Pages, 31 haunted places around Victoria that you have to visit, an article by Jay-Z on victoriabuzz.com. And then for Bastion Square, I have Bastion Square and Helmkin Alley, a wiki-style article by Van Isle Supernatural.ca. Bastion Square Haunted Courthouse, an article on discoverthepast.com. Historic Victoria, Spooky Bastion Square, which is a YouTube video by Shaw TV South Victoria. And both of them had episodes in Creepy Canada. So season 2, episode 3 for Bastion Square, and season 3, episode 12 for Beacon Hill, which you can both find on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was nice to actually find and be able to watch them, even though I know I've seen every episode of Creepy Canada as a kid.
Long time ago. Yeah. You definitely wouldn't remember all of it.
All right, guys. Well, there's the sources. We should talk about what we are going to do next week. Just to get you not next week.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're doing alien stories, right? Yeah.
We don't know specifically, but our theme is aliens, we've decided. So
yeah. So I'm excited.
I'm really excited. No one wants to talk about alien things. I love it.
I got to put my Tom DeLonge hat on for it.
I know, right? Well, and like I feel like it's topical because right now there's all this talk about how like basically aliens are real, like the US government's basically admitting to it, which is insane. We'll have to talk about how we're gonna do that episode, because like how we're gonna narrow it down.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it should be good.
It should be.
I'm excited.
All right, guys, until next time,
keep on creeping on.